We have childish bunches in today because we're going to be talking about some serious adult topics. Money. Money, money, money. So when you work in a new, confusing media world and you work for yourself, people are often like, how though? How do you make a living? And I am all for having open conversations about money. It can be a bit of a taboo, but I like breaking down taboos. We've got sex, we've got chronic illness, and now we've got money. So that's what we're going to do today, and I even have some diagrams for you. Aren't you lucky? So before we get into it, just a bit of my backstory. I started making YouTube videos in 2011. It started out as a hobby and then kind of turned into a part-time job. I graduated university in 2014, moved to London with the aim of trying to make this my full-time gig because I was loving it so much, and then 2015 went full-time. When I moved to London, I got a part-time job and I was doing my own YouTube stuff, and it took me 10 months of doing that before I was in a financially stable enough position to quit that part-time job and just go all in on my own projects. And so that was in 2015, and now we're in 2019. So I've been full-time at this job for 4 years. And in that time, I've branched out. I don't just make all of my money on YouTube. I also write books, and I do podcasting, and I do Instagram and other things that we will get into. So I do have several different revenue streams, but until last year, I'd never actually figured out the breakdown of the percentages of what earns me what. So last year I wrote this blog post where I'd basically taken all of the transactions of all of the money coming into my accounts. This is not including expenses of like what I spend on my business. So everything that was coming in, and I categorized them and I created a fancy little pie chart. I'm going to leave that blog post in the description if you're interested in looking at that. But what I discovered from that year, so that pie chart takes in the tax year of 2017 to 2018, and 80% of my income came from brand deals. And I was like, oh boy, all of my eggs are in one basket, and that is terrifying. So after seeing that breakdown, I realized that I needed to diversify my income. There is absolutely nothing wrong with doing brand deals. I just didn't want to be completely reliant on them, because you get paid more depending on like how many views or your engagement and things like that. And so I didn't want to be reliant on numbers. I wanted a bit more flexibility and security when it came to my income. So there were two areas of income that were really low in that 2017 to 2018 year that I thought I can quite easily try and push these up to spread out the income a bit more. Obviously, I didn't want to be earning less money overall. I just wanted it to be spread out a bit more evenly. So those two areas were my Patreon and affiliate links. So Patreon is like a membership site where you can give a little bit of money each month to creators that you want to support, and in return you get some special access, some perks. Like, it depends on what the creator wants to offer in return for what price, basically. And then affiliate links are trackable links with different brands that if I post, like, say, an ASOS link or something, or a Love Honey link, because that tends to be the ones that I make the most money off. If you buy anything through my affiliate links, I get a little commission on that. So those are the two areas that I wanted to focus on. And I quote something that I said in that blog post from last year: ideally, in a few years' time, I'd like brand deals to be at 50%. Bearing in mind that it was at like 80%. And also in that year, Patreon was at 1.6% and affiliates were at 1.3%. So that is super low. And then we get to the last financial year. So this is 2018 to 2019, and here is my beautiful pie chart that I created again. I'll probably do another blog post with the actual like breakdown of what each category entails. This is going to be more like a broader video about how I make money online, but ding, 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 beautiful pie chart. So the first thing that you will notice is that the brand deals slice of the pie has gone down, and Oh my God. To be honest, like I hadn't been keeping track of this throughout the year. I literally just created this the other day and was just like, holy shit, I did it. It worked somehow. I don't know. So brand deals is now at just under 60%. So I am well chuffed with that. And then the other thing that I'm well chuffed at that I managed to do is that affiliates is now at 10.2%. That is from all of you buying sex toys. Like 100%, that is from you guys using those Love Honey discount codes that I give you and buying yourself some toys to please yourself. So you're welcome, and also thank you. And then my Patreon has gone up to 6.2%, which I'm also well chuffed about, but I also want to build my Patreon. So at the moment, I just have 3 tiers on my Patreon, but I'm going to be revamping that all very soon, which is very exciting, because also another thing that I'm probably going to be able to incorporate into my revenue streams going forwards is I'm launching a new podcast soon, which you'll hear about in the future at some point. And so I'm going to be incorporating some specific podcast rewards into my Patreon. So you'll see all of that kind of like getting announced around the same time. I'm not sure when yet, but follow me on social media. You'll be updated there. So those are the 3 main things that have changed: the brand deals, affiliates, and Patreon. And the actual size of the pie didn't get any smaller, even though the size of the brand deal pie got smaller. And what I mean by that is that overall, I didn't make less money in order to do this. So that is a good sign. So doing something like this, like making a pie chart out of my income, really helps me visually to see where my income is coming from and what I should focus on more and what I probably shouldn't focus on anymore. So what I have gathered from this pie chart is that merch just isn't making me any money. Like there's probably not much point in me doing merch anymore. So what is happening is that my merch store right now is 50% off everything. So go and grab it whilst you can. Once an item is sold out, that is it. It is sold out. So I mentioned on Twitter that I was going to be making this video and asked if you had any questions. One big one was about the different revenue streams, and I feel like I've covered that. But if you want more detail, then definitely check out the blog posts going into detail of each of the pie charts. But I also got questions in general about how brand deals work. And I think that's because brand deals are probably the most visible kind of monetization that influencers, content creators get. And so it's the one that people are most curious about, I think. Like, how does that work? How do you work with brands? So as I'm quite established in my career right now, and I have a manager who does a lot of the negotiating and reaching out and all of that stuff for me, most of the time brands come to me. I'm not reaching out to brands. It's very rare that I'll be reaching out, but it does still happen. And it's if there's a brand that I really, really love, but I don't always like email. Sometimes it's more of a like, I'll DM them on Twitter or DM them on Instagram, or try and do some kind of like social media interaction before doing the like hard email sell. And also some brands like to do it that way around as well. Like they become buddy with you on social media, and then maybe you'll get an email being like, hey, you want to work together? So the main kinds of brand deals that I do are YouTube videos and Instagram posts, and also Instagram stories. The price of those varies. Like it really varies depending on what kind of content they're asking for, who the brand is, the timeline, etc., budget, da. So all of that varies. And then, as I said, I have management, and they take a cut of all of the work that they get for me as well. You'll probably have seen that there are brands that I work with on multiple occasions. Like I made a whole series of videos with PlayStation, and I very often do videos with Always on different campaigns. And with brand deals that are across multiple videos or multiple posts or whatever it isn't always like per post. It's more of a for the whole thing. So for example, with the PlayStation deal that I did, I got paid one sum for all 4 videos. However, if you divide that sum by 4, that price per video is lower than what I would do like one branded video for. But that's because I see value in working with brands over a long period of time, and also it's that guarantee of income as well. So yeah, It super varies. And of course, you will see that I disclose when it's a sponsored video. So there'll be like ad in the title, thumbnail, and I'll say in the video that the video is sponsored by XYZ. When it comes to sponsored videos, brands tend to get like one round of edits. So you'll send them the first draft of the video and then they will come back with any changes that need to be made. There is a contract in place of like things to say, things not to say. It is a very different experience to making a video that isn't sponsored. There's just a lot more to do and the timeline is much longer as well. So if a brand came to me today and was like, we want you to make a sponsored video for us, because also I plan my content in advance, like the earliest I would be able to get them in a slot on my channel is like a month from now. So those branded videos that you see on my channel, they have usually been in the works for a few weeks to like 2 months, like in advance. Like that's how long the process has been from the original email of like, hey, do you want to work together, to the video coming out. Someone on Twitter specifically asked, have there been any deals that you've said no to because of principles? And yes, there have. So there's been lots of deals that I've said no to for all sorts of reasons. It's not the right time. It just doesn't suit my kind of content. The price wasn't right. Loads of reasons. But yes, there have also been times when I've said no because of the values. So I'm not going to name any names, but it was a newspaper and I don't agree with the values of said newspaper. And they wanted me to promote a new app of theirs. And I said no. Here's the great thing about having a manager. I didn't say no. My manager very politely said no. Whereas I would have been like, are you kidding me? Somebody asked, what's your biggest expense when making videos? And that is a really good question. So when specifically making videos, I would say the biggest expense is going to be equipment. So camera, mic, lighting, editing software, the computer, laptop that you do all of that on. So those are the one-off big expenses. The other thing is the ongoing expenses. And I had never calculated this before because I don't have a business financial manager person to do that for me. So I calculated like what I'm actually spending on my business. And I figured it out for a year. So in 1 year, what are my regular expenses? So that includes things like subscriptions, domain names, web hosting, and then people. Now, people are the biggest expense. So that includes my salary that I pay myself, my accountant, editor, publicist, and also I'm hiring / just hired an assistant. So I took into consideration all of those expenses too. And so my total yearly costs are about £40,000. And that doesn't include one-off expenses. So that number doesn't include things like my equipment, things like, oh, I need to travel to this place for work to do some filming, here's money for that flight, or whatever it is. So that is like ongoing yearly costs. So that was really useful for me to calculate, because what that means is that I now know that I need to make over that in order to like survive, basically. So yeah, to answer your question, what is the biggest expense with making videos, but I'm just gonna say like this whole job in general, the biggest one-off expense is equipment, and then the biggest ongoing expense is people. Someone else asked, how do you budget with fluctuating income? And that's a really good question, because this happens with a lot of freelancers, is that it just changes month to month, week to week, like jobs coming in, or maybe there being a real dry period. But I'm really lucky in that I am not living paycheck to paycheck through my business. So I always have a cushion there, that if there is like 3 months of like no brand deals, it's just like, where's the money? Oh, then I'm gonna be okay. And also I kind of know the general patterns of like when there's lots of brand deals and then when the brands quiet down, there tends to be no work in January and February. Just nothing. But then things pick up around springtime, and then in the lead up to Christmas is also usually like a big spike as well. General blanket rules. But again, I have a cushion just in case. Another thing that people want to know about is how demonetization works. Oh boy, what a hot topic. So yeah, one of the other ways that I make money is through adverts appearing on these videos on my YouTube channel, and that is called Google AdSense. So because of the nature of some of my content being about sex and all of that stuff, I often get demonetized. Most of my videos are fully monetized, it tends to be the ones about sex toys that get demonetized and age restricted. So just a quick note about language. Demonetized means that no ads are running on your video. You can't monetize that content. And when a video is age restricted, which means only people who are logged in and are over 18 can watch, that video is completely demonetized. I'm like 95% sure that's the case. The other kind of demonetization, which isn't full demonetization, is when you get the little yellow dollar symbol next to a video, and that means limited to no ads. So they've kind of gone, maybe not suitable for all advertisers. And so you'll only get some companies willing to advertise on the kind of content that you make. And that is often sex related or LGBT related. So you still make money on those videos, just nowhere near as much. Here's the other thing. Even with most of my videos fully monetized, I still do not make a lot of money from AdSense. And I didn't realize how much of a problem that this was until me and a friend actually like fully compared our analytics and how much we were earning. So there is this thing called CPM, and that is cost per mil, as in 1,000 views. And so you get a CPM, which is how much you're getting paid per 1,000 views on your videos. And your CPM changes per country. So it depends where those views are coming from. So the US and Australia, for me, have higher CPMs than the UK, even though most of my audience are in the UK. So if I had like a fully Australian audience, that would be great for me because their CPM is way higher. And this next thing is what's kind of unclear to me, but somehow in terms of the type of channel that you have, either overall like the type of videos that you make, or it's some kind of internal thing of how YouTube labels your channel, that can alter your overall CPM. So to the example of my friend and I, we took a look at our last month analytics. I'd had 6 times as many views as him and about 6 times as much watch time in minutes as him. So you would think I would have 6 times the earnings of him because that would make a lot of sense. No. He had twice the amount of earnings as me. And that is because we think of the kind of content that we make. So mine is like sex education based, and then his channel is like tech, productivity, YouTube-y skills based. So there you have it. Obviously, this is just something that we observed on our own analytics. There's no like confirmation of whatnot from YouTube and stuff, and it is part speculation, but also like, holy shit, 6 times as many views, half of the amount of earnings. Just saying. So that's why I need to diversify my income. Or just become a tech reviewer on YouTube. Become a male tech reviewer on YouTube. So I think that is a nice uplifting point to leave this video on. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video, that you have found it useful. Please do give it a thumbs up if you did, and let me know in the comments if you have any more questions about money and making money online as a YouTuber, social media influencer. I'm really happy to answer them and be as open as possible. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!